Welcome to Open Circuit Podcast, the best podcast in the world, Craig.
Yeah.
I'm Kalipso.
And I'm Mike.
All right, well, let's get into it, Mike.
So I just wanted to touch down on the production this last time. The lighting wasn't that good.
Yeah.
We kind of just swung for the fences,
Yeah.
and with not much preparation, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. Hold on one second, because speaking of light, our technical guy didn't really think about that. I just don't want to see that too much. All right, we good.
Yeah, Gabriel's been a godsend for us as far as production goes, man. He's like our little tech nerd. He's only 19, but man, this dude, he knows quite a bit of stuff, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I do say. That kid has always been learning stuff off of YouTube since
Way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, their generation is just completely different than ours, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would say.
Yeah, we were out causing havoc and riding our bikes and doing all kinds of nonsense when these kids are just on their tablet and playing on the internet and all that, watching SpongeBob. We didn't have SpongeBob when we were little.
No, we had, what was that, Ren and Stimpy?
Ren and Stimpy, Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck, that was my shit.
Yeah. What was it, DuckTales?
Yeah, but I thank God we didn't have those camera phones and all the technology they have today, because we would have been in a whole mess of trouble.
Oh, yeah, we'd still be locked up. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I know you have some topics to talk about today.
Yeah, it's a lot better preparation, I feel like, this episode. I think, like I was saying, we were swinging for the fences and we didn't have any formal, we didn't have any foundation. We just kind of jumped the gun and we were so excited to throw it out there.
Well, I mean, I feel like that, that term by Nike, just do it. Yeah. Sometimes it just kind of sticks to me, because sometimes we sit back and we say, oh, when we're going to do this, let's do it. You know what? Let's just do it.
Yeah, we jumped in the deep end and it was just an opportunity to learn, right?
Yeah. Because I feel like we're only going to get better. I mean, and what can get better than the best podcast in the world, Craig?
Yeah, I was looking on the charts, and we are actually rated last in all the podcasts in the world. We are the least populous podcast at this point, so we can just go up from here is the only direction, right?
No, we are the best podcast in the world, Craig.
Yeah. We're doing this for fun. Like I said in the first podcast, we're just trying to share our conversations with people far and near, just some insight into our deep conversations that we have. We have them pretty often when we're on the phone and we just chop it up and just talk amongst ourselves, and there's really good feedback. The thing is we can always be honest with one another and say, oh, you're messing up, or this is a different way to look at that. And so, wouldn't you say?
I do, man. I totally understand what you're talking about, Mike, because we've been doing this for a while. It's just our chance to actually talk about it with other people and reach out, because I know that other people relate with the topics, and so that's what we figured out a podcast was all about. And so we figured, hey, if those people are interesting, shoot, we got to be, because we're the best podcast in the world, Craig.
This guy.
I'm going to keep saying that till it sticks into you guys' head.
Till it hits.
Yeah.
So last, we were talking about Big X the Plug and Mexican OT and Paul Wall last time. And we kind of dibble-dabbled on Snoop Dogg's new album. I listened to it a little bit at that point.
Yeah.
But I didn't really give it, a good listen, and I wasn't impressed the first time around, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean, man. That's how things go. Sometimes you hear it the first time, it kind of goes over your head, especially if you're just, cruising and you maybe got family in the car or something like that. But, man, I'm going to say the production on that album, I thought Dr. Dre did some amazing work on it.
Yeah, yeah. Some of it, I felt like it was like it. I felt like it was overproduced at point. You know, like I just felt like there was a lot going on at some of the songs. But then I went back and I listened to it 3 times over. I listened to it, boom, 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 and there's about 4 or 5 songs on there. I say that I like a lot.
Which ones?
One of them is Fire.
Fire.
Skyscrapers.
I love Skyscrapers.
Yeah, that's with Method Man, right?
You know, when I heard that track, what I kind of got
Dre in the coupe.
Yeah, what I kind of got the vibe is that they were explaining who they are, where they're at now.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not your dudes. You know, it ain't Snoop Dogg who's just on 21st Street anymore.
No.
This is Snoop Dogg who's actually, you know, the big star that he is. He's a
mogul.
Yeah, a mogul now.
Pop culture.
That is the right word for it. Yes, he is a mogul now.
Yeah. Like we were saying before, Master P really put him on and helped him out when
Yes.
he was handcuffed by Suge Knight. You know.
Well, there's a lot of controversy going on right now. You know, especially since you said Suge Knight.
What about him?
Well, Suge Knight's been doing his own interviews.
Oh.
From prison.
Oh, he's been doing podcasts from prison?
Yes.
I've been sleeping on it, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well.
Tune in.
He's trying to claim that Snoop Dogg may have had some type of involvement in
Tupac?
Yes.
Who was Keefy D? Keefy D is the one that they finally arrested this last year for the murder of Tupac. Is that right? And then you got Biggie, man. It's crazy because he had that whole catalog, almost like Tupac. Wasn't Biggie the same age as Tupac when he passed away when he was murdered?
I'm not sure, but they were very young. They weren't. You know. And now that I'm the age that I am, you guys don't need to know that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you know, they were very young. And
yeah,
it's crazy how much, you know, just the experience in the music that Tupac had. It was like, it's crazy.
Man. I have a hard time. We were talking about before. I have a hard time with the new rap.
Yeah.
Growing up on Eazy-E, Too Short, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Loonies. I mean, Shock G. Just the list goes on and on and on.
I see you
Tribe Called Quest.
I see you got a lot of the East Bay influence, Oakland and.
Oh, E40, yeah. There's a lot, dude. MC Hammer was from Oakland. For those of you that don't know. MC Hammer was a real gangster, and his brother. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say when I was young, I got 2 tapes. My mom had got me the MC Hammer. I forget which album tape it was, and
what songs?
And the Vanilla Ice.
Oh, Vanilla Ice was cold.
Dude, I was so mad about the Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice was cold.
Listen, when I was coming up, people, you know, it was the early times of hip hop. So, you know, and I really experienced it, but it was, you know, they talked bad about Vanilla Ice, so I was always mad that I got the Vanilla Ice tape, but I loved my MC Hammer tape.
Vanilla Ice for me is like the Roy Nelson. Vanilla Ice for me in rap is like the Roy Nelson in the UFC, the big fat guy with the beard and the mullet and just knocking people out. He just gives you hope. So Rob Van Winkle for white boys from the neighborhood, you know, he gave us hope. Oh,
he did. He was that. He was one of the first few white rappers to really, you know, get real stardom.
Was Snow white? Was Snow white?
Yeah. Informa. But
boom boom down.
But see, now when I think of white rappers, but you know, some say, well, they're Jewish, but I think of Beastie Boys.
Oh, Beastie Boys.
Now, Beastie Boys was doing, like, that was bumped in the hood.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. They didn't even know who the color of the skin was on those dudes when they came out with that. When they came out with their stuff, man, it was, the beats was banging. MC Search, a third bass. those was some dope white boys too who did some stuff. I don't know if you know, but MC Search owns Nas's catalog.
MC Search from the Beastie Boys.
Or no, or was he just? He might have been involved in finding Nas, but MC Search is he's a big, you know,
he's from the Beastie Boys. I'm sorry.
No, he's from Third Base.
Oh,
yeah. But I was gonna go back to like what we were talking about with Snoop Dogg. Is there's been a lot of stuff going on with that, you know, because they're saying somebody might have been involved in how Puff Daddy figured out where to kind of find Tupac, where he was going to be, what times, type of thing like that. And they're trying to like throw that at Snoop, you know what I mean? But Snoop, I don't believe anything. You know, this is just all conversation. You're one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
So, you know what I mean? We keep it all live, but this is just public stuff, so we're just conversating.
Did you ever listen to the Snoop Lion album?
Yes.
What was there? There was that whole album, but there was a song on there, "Lighters and Ashtrays," I think, something like that. I used to have it downloaded on my phone, but then got a new phone and lost some of my stuff. But it felt like in a couple songs, there was a couple songs on the Missionary. Another part of me. It reminds me. And then there's another one. There's two songs on there. I think Fire might have been it. It's Fire and Another Part of Me. Felt like it had the Snoop Lion influence on it. It had like a reggae beat. I was like, oh, and I really liked the Snoop.
Did it have the girl singing the chorus?
In Fire, yeah.
Dope. Yeah, no, I know which one you're talking about.
And then...
and I really like that one with Jelly Roll.
I love Jelly.
I thought you would probably like it, but you know, and yes, I love Jelly Roll too.
Oh man, Jelly Roll. We would love to have you on the podcast. I'm gonna steal Marcus's line.
That's right, Jelly Roll. We want you on the podcast.
I just felt like there was Snoop Lion influence on Missionary.
Yeah.
To drop back on Jelly Roll. I feel like Jelly Roll is one of the most amazing human beings on earth. This dude's story from selling drugs, now he's just killing it. And I feel like he wants to give back to people going into county jails and I think prisons as well and performing. And he's actually donated money for performing arts for people that are incarcerated.
Oh, man. Jelly Roll he's probably going to be, you know what, I don't even want to speak in, you know, but... Because I don't want to, like, put something out there that might be too much for him, but I just feel like that dude might be doing a lot more for the Lord. And I think you can hear it in his music. You can hear it in his music. If you listen to the songs, he's talking about we're all going to be on that holy tide, and it's all going to be all right. You know, that type of stuff. He's talking about it. If you really listen... That's what he's talking about.
It's from his heart, too, Marcus.
Yeah.
It's from his heart, bro. Like, it's from his heart. I can't explain. Like, we went to his concert over in West Jordan or something like that. I think it was last year, maybe. And Amy wasn't too familiar with his music. Shout out to Amy. Zen Garden, opening soon.
Yep.
That's our very first sponsor for the podcast.
I'm going to need to get, what do they do, massages there?
Massages, facials.
Need to get one of them massages.
Japanese head spa.
No Japanese massage.
I think it's just with your hair. I don't know. And then pedicures, manicures. They're going to do all kinds of different stuff. We're really excited about it, man. It's a great opportunity for her and the girls.
It's good for our community, man.
Oh, yeah. One less empty building, and it's a service that's not provided in Ely. You know what I mean? So it's kind of out of the box, and she's wanted to do it for a long time, and she just swang for the fences, man. And I think she's going to hit it out the park. So.
Nice, Amy.
But we were talking about Jelly Roll, bro. I feel like he's the salt of the earth, Marcus.
That's what I'm saying.
Like...
That's what you know, and you know me. You guys got to know me, but that's what it is. Jesus said to be a salt of the earth. So go on, and that's what he's doing, man. And I hear it in the music, and I'm like, man. I'm like, he can be one of those people, like, he talks to the people who are depressed, going through it, and you just feel it in the music. And I'm like, and he doesn't try to be like overcomplicated either. Like, I notice his lyrics are very, very clear, and it's like, it's just good music, man. That's what my buddy once told me. He was like, what do you like listening to? He asked me if I like listening to country, this. I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, let me explain. I like listening to good music. You hear me?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's rap, if it's whatever. If it's crap, it's crap. But if it's good, it's good music.
Yeah, so what I was getting at was she wasn't real familiar with this music. And then we went to that concert over in West Jordan. I think it was last summer, but we went, and she just fell in love with him because of his like the way that he interacted with the audience and the way that he spoke positivity into the world. She fell in love with the person that he is, and it's really easy to do. Like, you hear anybody, Theo Vaughn is clowning on Jelly Roll. I like to thank the maitre d' at the Macaroni Grill. Theo Vaughn, man, that dude, he is crazy. He's funny as hell. He's like them guys say, he's an alien. He's he thinks differently. But anyways,
Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll.
We need you on the show, man.
What about The Negotiator, the very last song on the whole...
I liked it.
Yeah, me too.
I liked it.
Me too.
I really did, man.
He's like, and then the cherry on top for me was when he threw Andre the Giant in there. I'm like, oh, man. I was like, oh, man.
Woo! I like that. Yeah, like I said, it was a different type of album, I think, because when you said that it sounded maybe overproduced, but that's Dr. Dre. And I have a feeling, this is just my feeling, because I was watching that Drink Champs when they came out, and it sounded like Dr. Dre was like, I'm not really ready, Snoop Dogg is on the move. He probably was like, hey, Dre, it's good. Drop that, and Dre was probably like, look, hold on, I want to do a few transitions, things like that. No, man, it's dope. It's dope like it is, I could see Snoop telling him, because, Dr. Dre, it'd be a while for him to put out some albums.
Yeah,
you know what? And don't get me wrong, I understand, because there was a time when I was rapping and I would be like, you know what? I'm taking the time to write the right rhyme. And I would spend months working on a song. So I understand that, and
this guy, I mean, he's
a genius.
You're more educated, and I love hip hop. I've been loving it since I was a little kid. Dr. Dre's a savant. Anything that he touches, it seems like, Snoop, Warren G, Eminem, 50 Cent, just all them guys, like anybody that and shout out to the DLC, the DLC was a big part of that. He's back from the NWA days, right? From, what is he from, Dallas, right?
He's from Texas, yeah. I think he's from somewhere real close to Dallas.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now, the DOC representing Texas.
What about the thing was like for those of you that don't know, if you have watched Straight Outta Compton or whatever, it goes way back, but in the beginning, Eazy-E was like the money man. He didn't really have... He was the money man and got behind Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. And then you had, the Wrecking Crew, World Class Wrecking Crew.
Shout outs to Ice Cube. We got to get you on the show, man.
Yeah, he was the lyrical genius.
Yes, he was.
And you seen that in the World Series, and then Fat Joe came on in New York, and oh man, them Dodgers were getting them, boy. Them Dodgers were like, wow, wow. Kike Hernandez.
We're gonna have to talk about the Ice Cube album next time.
Ice Cube.
We're gonna look at that new Ice Cube album.
Yeah, there was another album that I heard was just coming out, and I can't remember. That was like what you're talking about with I can't remember. Go ahead.
But remember, he had a group name called Lynch Mob. Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Was that with Lethal Injection or before that?
I think it was all around that same time. But the lynch mob, one of the members was in prison for like, I think a couple decades.
Really?
And he got a song with him back on after he's gotten out.
Oh.
You know.
This new album you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Oh, you listened to the whole thing already?
I listened to a few songs, but I definitely want to listen to that whole album on a good cruise. And
do you remember?
Talk about that.
Do you remember Higher Learning?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Higher. Who was was it
Busta Rhymes?
Was it Busta Rhymes on there, right? It was Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes was the man. Hey Bust, we need to get you on the show.
Yeah, Busta Bust, so dangerous. Yeah, Busta Bust was cold.
Yeah,
For those of you guys that don't know, put your hands where my eyes can see.
That was dope. That was so
gosh.
dope.
He was like him, Twista, Do or Die. And then Bone Thugs came out a little bit after them, right? Wasn't Bone Thugs a little bit after them?
No.
It was the same time?
I would say Bone Thugs was around that same time.
Or were
See,
they...
that was a big thing. Is that, well, Twista was called Tongue Twister.
Oh.
And he did his thing.
Twista's a little bit more...
Just like Eminem had his underground album, Twista had one too.
Oh yeah, big in Chicago, right?
And yes, and you know, as the times go, it was very close around that time, but a lot of people, you know, were starting to say, "Oh, Bone Thugs stole Twista's style," and that's why there was some beef in there. You know, it was a very, you know, a lot of you youngsters out here nowadays who be trying to rap. You guys want to sound like Juice WRLD or sound like somebody else. In the, you know, those, I say early 90s of rap, and you know, even today, I must still say it was very important to be original. If you sounded like somebody, it didn't matter how tight you were. People would be like, he sound like E40. He trying to be like E40.
Nobody sounded like E40, boy.
I've heard a few. You know, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this funny story, right? Because we was talking about Busta Rhymes. I ain't gonna put your name out there, but there was somebody. He was my dog, though. He was my dog, but he loved Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes, he did?
Yeah, he loved Busta Rhymes, and he would like try to, you know, and when this album came out, he started trying to rap like Busta Rhymes.
Is he incarcerated now, this dude?
Nah.
Oh.
But anyway, so
we
was just starting high school.
I was just fishing, sorry.
Yeah, we was starting high school.
That's a tall task to rap like Busta Bust, boy.
Man, he gets on the bus one day, and he put extensions in his hair.
Yeah.
But they weren't just like your, you know, like if
he didn't have the color.
If it would have just been like a few braids and maybe it was a little longer, you know, that would have been cool. But he put these extensions in his hair, and they were like this long, bro. Like, and you know, and he didn't have long hair, so he comes into school with these big old long extensions hanging.
Was it just two extensions?
He had three.
It wasn't like the old school. It wasn't like the girls like because it isn't like the girls with the like
he had at
red
least 3 or
and the
4.
blue.
He had at least 3 or 4 because I remember there was one coming up the top and there was like 2 down the side.
Oh, he's trying to be like Snoop Dogg. That's what it was.
No. He was really trying to be like Busta Rhymes, and they got to clowning him on the bus and they called him Busta Crumbs.
He probably knows what you're talking about if he sees it. So he was looking like Venus and Serena Williams up on that bus, huh? He was like, he didn't.
Man, and it was a very, like I said, we was just starting high school. It was very important. You know, they had the little high school fraternities.
That's a rough age. High school.
Dude, yeah.
Kids in Ely are the worst, though, bro. There's so much bullying and stuff like that going on. Why do you think I'm kind of, like I was talking about before about being a cinder block head? It's because I moved to Ely in 9th grade, and I had no choice, bro. I fought so much. Oh, it was painful. So then,
I've heard. I've heard.
Yeah, it was really brutal being the outcast here in Ely. It was really brutal being the outcast here and not having many friends. You know, that's why it's so important for me. People that I have taken a liking to. that I treat them like they're my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People can say whatever they want about me,
Yeah.
you know, and there's a lot that's said.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot that's said about me too.
but the thing is,
Quit
though,
hating.
but the thing is, though, is probably everything that you say about me, I say worse about myself. I'm my own worst critic. And the thing about, like, so the friendships that I built over the last 25 years, 30 years, 27 years, something like that, since I've been here, these are friends that I'll have for the rest of my life. I have about 5 or 6 of them, and you being one of them. I don't know if you guys know Marcus really, really well, but I do. And Marcus is the type of guy, he will not say bad. People have done really bad things to him, but he will not say bad about anybody. He believes in Jesus, and he walks the walk every day. And he's just that's the reason why I was so
If you don't know who Marcus is,
Kalipso, my bad.
That's
I don't
me.
I don't call him Kalipso no more. I call him Marcus these days. My mom got me in the habit of that because he worked with my mom for quite some time, and they built a good relationship. But anyways, Marcus is just, he doesn't talk bad about anybody. People that have done really bad things to him, he doesn't say nothing bad about. That's the type of person that he is, and that's why I was very fortunate to be able to do this with him, you know. And I love you, bro. I do.
yeah, and I love you too, man.
Yeah. So
This
anyways,
is like my brother.
Yeah.
No Bruno. So,
no Diddy.
but you know,
Too soon?
what you saying, you know, and I appreciate the flowers. What you're saying, the reason why is because I know that people can change. And some of the things that may be said about me, maybe I deserved some of those things. But like you said, you've watched my transition, you know, and so, and I've watched your transition, you know.
It's matured. We've matured.
You know, when I met Mike, all we did was drink. That was, you know, and I still, you know, drink a beer occasionally or something like that. But when we used to party, woo!
Yeah. Hang on. No need for that. Gabriel hooked us up with the sound effect. There's more to come.
But
thank you, Gabriel.
you know, I just know that people can change, you know, and that's why I try not to, you know, to hold a grudge or hold something on people. I know that they're going to change, and you know, remember the dude who
Yeah.
I mean, we just can keep it real. I got my by a friend. He sucker hit me, and
yeah, in the dark, Marcus didn't even know it was coming. That's kind of what I was referring to, Marcus.
and I saw him, and guess what? He looked at me, and he said, "Man, dude, I've hated myself for that, dude." He said, "I've thought about it because, you know, I was a good friend to him," and I looked at him, and I said, "Hey, man, I done already forgot about that," you know, and I gave him a hug. But, you know, as we grow, we just learn, man, and that's why I can't, you know, I have no real tolerance for, you know, being a hater, or, you know, or holding a grudge on anyone, you know. So I appreciate that, Mike, you know.
I wanted to get him.
You know what? Everybody who's my friend wanted to get him, you know.
No,
and some people did harass him, chase him down the street, you know, stuff like that. And I don't want to, you know, glorify it too much. And guess what? That is part of the game, you know. And we played the game, Mike. You know, we've been out there in these streets. We like, you know, the homeless stories, to living in the ghetto, to where we're at now and what we're doing, and we're trying to make positive moves. We're raising children nowadays. You know, we ain't got time to be going to jail. You know, like a lot of times people would be like, "Yo, man, you know, man, I ain't got time. I can't be going to jail. You know, we got things to do."
Yeah, I remember one time I was living in Reno and Marcus was living in Carson, and he
Carson City, because I am from Carson, California.
My bad.
But yeah,
he was
Carson
living
City,
in
Nevada.
He was living in. Excuse me. He was living in Carson City, and he came over, and the rent just kept going up or something like that over in Carson City. And I'm like, man, you could get a spot right here. It's pretty cheap. And Marcus said, I don't know if you look around, but this is pretty ghetto up in this butt. It's pretty ghetto.
It was ghetto. Yeah. Tell him where you was living, because everybody who lives in Reno knows what's up.
Yeah, right there in Yory and Grove. You know.
Yes, and it was.
Not everybody knows about it though. I've talked to a few people just recently, and not everybody knows about Yory and Grove, bro.
Oh no, because they ain't going over there, man.
the very.
I'm
first,
telling you that was ghetto. Everybody, they was all banging. It was a couple different gangs.
It's funny because it's all around the pepper mill. It's in between the pepper mill and Kitski, right over in that area. And then on the other side of the pepper mill is more projects. The very first night,
shout outs to Reno.
Yeah, shout out to our boy JD. John Dillinger over at Southtown Tattoo. That's our man right there.
Hey, I gotta give a shout out to that. What's that one dude? You know, we would be over there on Grove, and everybody, and that one dude was like, "Hey, you want some tree?
Yeah,
you want some tree?"
This dude, he was from.
He didn't care. He was hustling right there. He didn't care who heard it, whatever. He'd be up in the store like, "Hey man, you want some tree?"
Yeah, he was a Polynesian and he was half Polynesian and half African American or whatever, half black. And man, he was trying to sell weed to these like little 10-year-old kids. And then these other dudes got mad about it.
Terrible.
And so then I tried to ask these other dudes to give this dude a ride on the store, but I had him on speakerphone, and there was racial slurs thrown around by these essays. And then, what was his name? Solo?
That was his name.
Solo.
Shout out to Solo.
So Solo. So he was like, "Oh, I'm going over there," and then he goes over there, and he's about to pull out a gun. These other dudes are about to pull out guns, and I'm right in the middle trying to keep the peace. And these dudes just jump me, boom, boom, boom. But and they were all trying to pull their guns out in broad daylight, bro. I was gonna get shot for trying to keep the peace. It was crazy.
That's how it goes, and I'm telling you, that's how it goes on Grove.
Yeah. Look at JFK trying to keep the peace. What happened to him? But anyways, sorry. The first night that JD ever dropped me off, because remember I used to kick it at I think it was Wild West Tattoo. That was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Then he went to Battleborn. Now he has his own shop over on South Virginia and Longley or Huffaker. They switch right at South Virginia.
Y'all ever need a good tattoo?
Yeah, go see JD, Carlos, or Brandon Wentz.
Yes,
gangsters, the dopest artists in Reno, in my opinion. But anyway, so the first
what shop are they at?
Southtown Tattoo. I just said that four times.
No,
bro.
My bad. I thought you. I heard the Wild West one, and my bad.
Yeah, Wild West Tattoos with lame named Rob Fargo. He was a straight POS, but yeah, he was like a prejudiced dude. He hated like heavy set people. He just hated everybody. So the first night JD ever dropped me off on Yory, there was cops everywhere with assault rifles. He was like, "What?" But remember the last episode when we were talking about more fortunate kids being straight gangsters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, hey man, that's and California's like that,
When them fools jumped me, I went over to the tattoo shop. JD's like, "Let's go." Mm-hmm. And JD's mobbing around the hood looking for these dudes. I'm like, I'm good right now, man. I'm trying to recover. I have a little bit of trauma. Let it settle down a little. We'll get them later. I just know. Most of the time, I don't.
We had some adventures, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't know when to hold them and fold. Most of the time, I don't know when to hold them and fold them. But I was like, I'll just let this one chill a little bit.
Well, did you hear about Drake and Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, you had mentioned that to me for something to talk about, and they go back so is it like 2015 when Kanye and Drake started doing music together.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something.
Yeah, he might have been doing that for a while. It's been so much talk about Drake.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reason why I decided to say something about that, because, you know, the whole Kendrick Lamar, Drake situation. And I don't know if you heard lately, Drake is dissing. Oh, he's suing too, yes. Mm-hmm. But he's also dissing LeBron James.
Oh, Drake is the one dissing LeBron James?
Yeah, he's got a rap for him. I think he got like two of them. One, he's straight at LeBron, and then another one, he's kind of, you know, talking, but he ain't really saying his name. And he was like in a room actually doing it straight on the microphone in a room, kind of freestyle type of thing.
Is that what you're talking about as far as the allegations about LeBron James? Is that where it comes from? Is Drake?
I don't know if it's from Drake. I think it has something to do with that "ain't no party like a Diddy party" comment that LeBron James made.
Oh.
And I think a lot of people were asking, well, what was going on at that Diddy party? Because that's the thing. We hear a lot of this stuff that was going on at P. Diddy's party. You see these pictures of all these entertainers at his party, but they make some fake pictures, but you've never seen just some straight up Pound Town video going on and stuff. So there's a lot of what was going on. Was there children there? What was going on at the Diddy party? You know, you get these people who say things, but you don't really know. You're not hearing it from a broad amount of people. I mean, maybe I don't got the whole news, but LeBron was supposed to be at the party, and he mentioned, and he had been at a few of them. Ain't no party like a Diddy party, and so was Javante
Davis.
Oh yeah,
that's a bad dude right there. He's like one of the boxers that I would actually pay to see. I mean, I'm not. If he was doing that, then forget him. But if he's not doing it, man, that's the thing.
Have you seen his new hairstyle?
No.
Well, see, there's been a lot of over the years, I guess, you know. And Javante, look, man, I don't care what they got to say about you. We want you on the podcast. So,
yeah, Javante Davis is a bad dude.
But he got this new hairstyle going on in a picture where he's kind of like permed out straight, and it's got a ponytail, and he got the bang type hanging right here, and his hair brushed back. So they were trying to, you know, people have been clowning. You know, they're going to clown when they catch you on the internet doing something. But I don't think Javante give a damn what anybody thinks about him.
Yeah, no, when you're that bad, you could walk around with a unicorn horn on your head, and it don't matter. You ain't going to say nothing.
That's funny. Everybody will say stuff about this man, but like he said, y'all ain't going to say nothing to his face.
Yeah, it's a little bit different when you're on the keyboard typing, talking shit, and then you're face to face with somebody. Like, what did Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yep, that's the comment.
Man, Mike Tyson, God bless his heart. This guy, he was. So if you look at and I'm gonna reference him a lot because I just love him. I admire Joe Rogan, and Dana White. These people that have dedicated their life to the fight game, that is their top dude. That is their Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. And I think that we might have been. I mean, I remember the pay-per-views. I remember my dad and watching them with my dad. I remember. I think it was 90. I think it was February of 90. He got knocked out by Buster Douglas in Japan. And there's some controversy surrounding that, like Buster Douglas got extended counts and all that. But anyways, I think we were a little bit too young to appreciate it. But my love for boxing came from a very early age, and then MMA.
No, I wasn't. No, it was going on in my house.
Yeah. What, boxing or you were watching the pay-per-views?
I was watching it, yeah. There was a lot of the fights were on TV, and we would have lots of parties watching Mike Tyson's fights, and that was like a big thing, you know.
Here's the thing, like, Mike Tyson walks around back then, this guy was 5'10", 5'10", 210. Yeah. And he was knocking dudes dead. They were lucky to last two rounds.
And in my neighborhood there was, a black community, but when you went around the corner, a few blocks, a lot of Mexicans, and I would ride. I ride my bike around. I went to school with them, and so it was always Mike Tyson, and it was always Chavez.
Oh,
We was
Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yes, we was always. Those were our. Those were our Those were our champs, man. Like
Julio Cesar Chavez had more fights. Oh man, he had so many fights. He had 100 and something fights, I want to say, and he only had 6 or 8 losses. And this dude fought the best of the best.
Hey, speaking about Mike Tyson, I'm trying to think of this other dude who may have never got his recognition because Mike moved up so fast.
Who? Lennox Lewis?
No, he was a fighter who was gonna fight Mike Tyson, and he was from New York too. They called him Blood, and he had a Jerry curl, and he was a bad shit talking.
Oh, I know who you're talking. No, he fought him.
He did.
That was the game, mate.
He was catching Mike with some punches.
He had the Jerry curl, right?
Yeah,
that dude was a gangster.
I think he caught Mike somewhere one day, and he was high. He was high out his mind. And he ran up on Mike, and Mike. Supposedly, the story is that Mike, hit him and laid him out. But he was like, Mike said this was one of them dudes that could take that punch. He said that dude kept getting back up.
Oh, he was on PCP or something. He rode up on him on a bike, and Mike beat the brakes off of him. I think his name is Mitch something.
Yeah.
Mitch something. But what I was getting at, though, is when I was little,
they said that dude had a lot of fights, and he had a real good record. And he could have went, if he wasn't so caught in the streets, he could have became a boxer that we would be, and they said he should. He has a record that's, like that, but he just was too much in the streets.
What I was getting at, though, with Mike Tyson, man, is not being old enough to appreciate it. And then when I actually started paying attention as I got older, I feel the allegations as far as, the stuff that happened with him. And then, when he lost that fight to Buster Douglas, Don King had managed him by then. So what happened was Customato died he died in early '86, and then Tyson went on to be the champion, beat Trevor Berbick early, second round, I want to say, beat the brakes off him, and then hit Customato's best friend, June Johnson or something like that. He was his manager. And he got cancer, but he didn't tell anyone, and he passed away. So then Mike didn't have anybody, and then I think
he lost his mom when he was 16. So he was taken care of by some lady, and so and she was an older lady too, didn't he?
Yeah, Customato's. She wasn't formally his wife, but they lived together. Customato, he didn't care about having pockets full of money. He didn't care about that. He had a stable of fighters in his house, and he gave. He didn't care about becoming rich. All he cared about was grooming these fighters, and it almost hindered Mike to where, because,
and don't mistake the word grooming with some type of weird stuff, because he
was training them to be great. So Customato didn't care. But what ended up happening is he wanted to have the youngest heavyweight champion ever. He had 2 champions already. He had Floyd Patterson, and then he had I can't remember the other ones. I can't remember the other one's name. Excuse me, forgive me for that. But so Mike came along, and Mike had allegations about Teddy Atlas's niece, because Teddy Atlas went to fight there. Teddy Atlas was a wild boy, and he went there to get out of trouble, and he was a boxer, but he had MS or something like that, and he could no longer fight. So Customato, his thing was mind control. He would convince you that you are the greatest thing ever. He would convince you that you are amazing, and that's what he did with Mike. And he convinced Teddy Atlas to be a trainer. And to this day, Teddy Atlas is probably the best boxing mind in the world. He is phenomenal, man. He is. I have his book. I've read it. there's only a few books I read.
You should get him on the show.
I would love that, man. He
You
tells.
hear it.
There's a story in his book. His dad.
Teddy Atlas, we want you on the show.
He's from New York City. His dad was a psychiatrist, psych doctor. He would do house calls and all that. And he said he went to the psych ward or something like that, and he's carrying around a clipboard, and he said there's this crazy lady. She's just going off. Wah, 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 and they're going to restrain her, and Teddy Atlas's dad hands her the clipboard, and then she follows him like she's his assistant, right?
Yeah.
So then they go in this room, and she looks down, and he has them old Velcro style shoes. Remember, like your grandpa wore? He had those old Velcro style shoes, but they were busted. They were like $5 shoes back then. And she says, "You're not a psychiatrist. No doctor would ever wear those shoes." And he says, "And you're not crazy." Oh, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the allegations, sorry, I'm sorry to be long-winded. But
keep going.
So there was allegations with Mike and Teddy Atlas's niece, and Teddy Atlas hid in the alleyway of the gym, and Tyson came up, and Tyson was like 12, 13, maybe 14 years old, and he held a gun to Tyson, and he says, "If you ever talk," I think he might even have put it in his mouth, he says, "If you ever approach my family again, I'll blow your brains out." And they barely reconciled, or however you say, they barely reconciled just within the last couple of years, man. And Teddy Atlas trained Tyson for the Junior Olympics. He was his trainer when he won those gold medals.
I wanna just because you said that, and we were talking about things earlier. You just heard it. People change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Mike Tyson that you guys. A lot of times I hear people say, "Oh, I don't like Mike Tyson." It's like, if you knew the guy that he's became now, and you ever watch his interviews, you hear how he talks, man. You can tell that this is a man that has been through a lot, and he has changed. Mm-hmm. And this is a good dude. You can watch his podcast. This is man. That dude's
hot boxing with Mike Tyson.
He's a loving person, man.
Oh, he don't let them don't stereotype him. Don't put him in a box because of his voice and because of his boxing. This man is a freaking genius. Yeah. He could tell you people's records. He could tell you their records, and I'm talking about like the 1940s, 1920s. He could tell you the boxer's record and how they fought, because they had all these films, and that's all Tyson would do was sit there and watch these films as a child, bro. And then he would study all these conquerors, Genghis Khan. He would study all these people. Like, this dude is a freaking savant. I just respect and love Mike Tyson so much, and I would never want to mess with him.
Hey, Mike, we want to get you on the show, man.
Yeah, I'm the champ.
You're always going to be our champ. I don't care if you're in another expedition fight and it doesn't go your way. You're always going to be a champion in our book, you know.
Straight out of Brownsville. Hey, man, we want...
shout outs to Brownsville.
Yeah, we want Shannon...
some dope rappers out of Brownsville.
We want Shannon the Cannon to come on, too. Shannon the Cannon, let's go, champ. That dude talks a lot of mess. Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. He probably have us in headlocks up in here and stuff.
You know, I did not love Tyson because I didn't understand how special he was as a kid, and I wanted Evander to beat him. I wanted him to beat Lennox Lewis. But as I've gotten older, man, I have watched so many documentaries. I've bought Custom Auto's book. I bought his book. I watched the same documentaries over and over again, and that's not like me. We were talking about it before, but anyways.
Did you see that little short clip of Shannon the Cannon and Mike Tyson meeting up like
in Brownsville?
And they were like,
just playing around.
They was playing around and stuff, street. And they gave each other hugs and stuff. I love to see that, man.
Oh, them guys fight or give each other love?
No. Give each other love. If I want to see a fight, I want to see Shannon the Cannon go at it with Rampage. You've been waiting for that.
That's another guy that I was it kind of reminds me of the same as how I felt about Tyson in the beginning because he knocked out my man Chuck Liddell. Chuck is from the same area as me in Southern California. I actually got the opportunity to meet him and chop it up with him for like 5 minutes this last year in last June at the International Fight Week. It was pretty neat, man, and just to get to talk to him and say, "Oh, I'm from Ventura. Oh, yeah." He's from San Luis Obispo, but now he lives in Moore Park, and and everybody wants to make fun of him. Did you see those videos where he's like, "Oh, crazy jawed," and I think it was at the John Jones fight. They're making fun of him like he's on drugs, man. Leave that guy alone.
Yeah, look. What goes on in people's homes?
Well, I don't think they were at home because I was in New York and
I know. I seen him at the fight. I seen it.
You seen the little jaw? Look, we know what that's from. We've been around the block once, twice.
Hey, and he had a nice little chick with him, and
I think it's his wife.
And if they, hey, look, got one life to live. I hope that they get saved. It is not my job, but I will say I hope you get saved if that's the case. But Chuck Liddell, I don't give a dang. We want you on the show, Chuck.
Oh yeah, we would love
we want you on the show.
We would love that. But what I was getting at was like I didn't have a lot of flowers for Rampage, but now looking back and just watching some of that dude was silly. He was silly, and he was a bad dude. When
he went to the Wolf's Den, something changed.
I don't know if that was after Pride. I'm pretty sure that was after Pride, but
because we always knew Rampage for putting hands on, grabbing people, and slamming them.
Yeah,
and then he went to the Wolf's Den, and his stand up game was like a boxer.
Yeah, he's dope. He's a great fighter. He didn't. He wasn't the most disciplined, but when he went there, he started getting a lot more discipline and training a lot harder, I think.
Man, I thought his punches just became even harder.
Oh, yeah. And then he got one back from Vanderlei. But Vanderlei was getting older, and the drug testing wasn't as strict in Pride as it was the UFC. That's what you hear a lot of, that Pride made sure that you
I remember how much of a Vanderlei fan you were, man.
Oh, I like the Axe Murderer. Yeah, Chuck's my man, my favorite, and Dan Henderson got a look.
Dan Henderson for sure. Dan, where you out? You in Temecula? Hey, we need you on the show, man.
And then who?
We'll actually, if you say it, we'll get on a plane and we'll fly out there. We're gonna go see you.
What about Chris Lieben? I love Chris Lieben. Either he was gonna get knocked out, or he was gonna knock the crippler. He's putting the stamp on kids. I love Chris Lieben.
Yep. So now,
what you got?
We gonna talk about it.
What happened?
You remember Tupac?
Oh,
he used to roll with a crew called the Outlaws.
Oh, I remember.
Peep the whole scene and whatever's going on around me. Brain kind of cloudy. Smoked out, feeling rowdy. Ready to wet the party up. And whoever in that mother... Yeah. Young Noble.
Yeah. You were the one that put me onto that. I didn't know nothing about it. And you're like, Young Noble. I'm like, who the hell is Young Noble? And I'm just being honest. That's the thing we're being vulnerable here. That's what we're doing by talking to everybody and sharing our true thoughts and how we feel. We're being vulnerable.
He's had an underground career.
Oh,
but it has been going on. He's got I don't know how many albums, dude. It's probably like 20, I don't know, maybe like 20 albums.
Yeah.
And the dude's got a lot of albums. He's got albums with some of the dudes from Dead Prez. He's got quite a lot of albums in catalog.
I listened to the first one. It was like 7 minutes and 20 seconds long, something like that. And then
Euthanasia.
Our cameraman's throwing stuff.
The track's called Euthanasia by Young Noble.
And then there was another one that was only a couple minutes long, right? The second one. You sent me a second one. You don't remember?
Oh, that was just a new song he just dropped.
Oh, it wasn't a freestyle? It was just a song.
It was just a new song he dropped.
I like that one. I think better than the 7 minute and 20 second.
Well, we're gonna reach into what was going on and why he dropped this track for Nas.
You know who he reminded me of, like that early '90s Wu-Tang sound. I know he was born in California and then he moved out to New Jersey.
He was born in California? I thought he was born in New Jersey.
No. He's born in California and moved to New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I know he's a New Jersey guy. By what he reps. He's a New Jersey guy. Most of the Outlaws are from New Jersey. And
how does Tupac? I don't remember. It's been so long ago, and I listened to the music. Man, we were really spoiled.
Yeah.
As kids, I don't remember how he has ties to the East Coast, but I know he does.
Well, he lived in the East Coast,
and then he moved to Oakland, right? Or how did that work?
Yep.
Is that where he went to performing arts school?
Marion County.
And what's that?
That's where Tupac was living. Was in Marion County.
In California or in the East Coast?
In California.
Man, and it, all these videos like showing him where they say that he was like super feminine and just the man he's dead.
Well, the thing is
we know some feminine dudes out here.
Tupac
Neely too.
from what I've gathered about Tupac, he was a guy who you could put him in any environment and he'd adapt. He'd adapt.
He's smart.
Yeah. And so, that's why when he going to art school was like the great thing for him. I think people think he went to art school as an actor and learned how to become who he was. I believe that he was this guy beforehand because they were talking about like when he had moved to Oakland and that area, Marion County and stuff like that, he said, I was real, if you watch his interview, he said, I was real nice with the ladies when I first met him, and he said, and I realized how they just kept playing me off for these other guys. And they said right after that, he said, I changed up my ways, and he said, and I learned how to, be a little more, I guess, I'm going to say aggressive in some weird way, guys. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more aggressive at getting his speech across with women. And they said he became like a ladies' man quick.
Well, it's kind of a tightrope that you walk. I don't even know. I don't want to speak on it because I'm no expert. You've taught me more about it.
Well, but what I was going to get to
3% man. Check it out.
People want to say, oh, he played in the movie Juice and then tried to become the character. I believe that was him, and he just was playing. Learned how to work the movie. But what it was is, I believe that when you're going through certain things, like he said, they were calling me this. He said, I didn't call myself a thug. This is what they were writing about me. These are the things that they were saying about me. And I think he just, what? If you're going to, you're going to push me in the corner, I'm going to come out swinging, you know what I'm saying? And you, sometimes you attack back and it sounds like that. And he had another interview where he was like, people asked him why he was, he yelled so much. He says, because you don't understand, I've been shot. And these people made jokes about me. Mm-hmm. They talked about him being raped in prison, all types of, foul things that you say about a dude. And so he was like, yo, I wanted them to know I wasn't a joke. He says, if somebody comes and robs your house, are you going to say, hey, get out of here? Or are you going to be like, hey, you better get the hell out of my house, and get loud? That's the type of aggression that he was coming with. And I think a lot of people misunderstood him because, you can hear, if you ever read the book, his poetry book, The Rose and the Concrete, you could tell that this man was
intellectual.
Very intellectual.
Very.
People say he ain't got lyrics, he this, that, whatever. No, this man was a poet and he understood hip hop. He wasn't just like some dude who was just rapping from the West Coast, who was just gang banging and being a thug. Like, nah, he was into politics. He was into, his mom's was a part of the Black Panther Party. Mm-hmm. He was articulate. She used to make him read the newspaper. And yeah, he came from the ghetto. He came from the ghetto, and and when you come from the ghetto, you learn. You got to get tough. And so, what he was going through, he had to get tough. It wasn't a choice. Yeah. And so when people like try to make this story up about him, I'm like, you don't know that dude. You don't know. And the Outlaws, they knew him. And I just wanted to get back to what Young Noble was talking about. Is he explains the story of Tupac meeting Nas. And so Nas has his story, and Snoop Dogg kind of had a story, and it was kind of aiming for Nas's thing, like, yo, Nas, you were the bigger man by not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they had him outnumbered like 40 to something. It was like it was at a picnic or something. But
they were trying to say that Nas had Tupac outnumbered. Is how the story kind of comes from a Snoop Dogg Nas view. In a way, and every time they would do their interviews,
why would Snoop lie though?
But that's the thing, is the Outlaws. Napoleon had an interview some years ago, and he said it, and so did Young Noble. Was that no? Maybe you didn't know what was going on because you're not from the East Coast. But he says, I was right here, basically shoulder to shoulder with Pac.
So Snoop wasn't there then?
He said Snoop was there.
With who?
He was in the corner. Like he said, I think it was like maybe getting an interview or something was going on, cameras and stuff. And he said Snoop was over there. And it was a big out in the park type thing going on.
Yeah,
and he says, but those dudes that was here, he says they was with us. He said they was all New Jersey guys. They was all our boys. And that's what Napoleon and him was saying, is that those were our boys that had this whole scenery surrounding. He said there was no getting out for Nas. But he said, but the thing is that Nas was gangster. And he was saying, and we didn't want to, we always respected you because of how you approached that scene. He said Nas walked straight up, knowing that all these dudes was over here, and he was like, and he walked straight up to Pac, and he says, Pac they both admired each other, and he says they both handled it like gentlemen, and he was like, and he said it showed us how to be more mature, because they was a little young, they was younger than Pac and Nas, and they said that was just something so memorable to them. Like they ain't never forgot it. It was like something deep, because two greats actually approached each other who had beef, and they approached each other with common ground. And he was like, and even though common ground, it was more of the people in Pac's entourage there. He said, because Death Row East was kicking off, and that was why everybody was there rolling with Pac. And he says, that was he said the gangster story was the true story, is how Nas walked up and they both approached each other and they handled it like men. And we wouldn't have even, if Pac probably didn't die, those songs we heard on Machiavelli, like kind of saying, yo, Nas and all that, we probably wouldn't have heard that because he was supposed to scratch that.
But if he was still alive, they would have never been on the album.
It would have been never no disses on
Machiavelli was cold too.
But that came out after Pac died. All this dissing Nas type stuff started coming out. And so Noble was just like, but when you went into these interviews, you guys started changing history.
So why was the freestyle diss put out? Was it because Nas was speaking on that event?
Yes.
And then Noble.
So there's a song on the Kings. It's called King's Disease. He dropped a couple of them. Nas, I think maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 3. I'm a big Nas fan, but man, I just listen to the songs. I don't even know the names of the songs. I just play them.
Yeah.
But there was a song, and it was called Death Row East. And he's talking about,
this is Nas' song?
Yeah, this situation, some interviews. Snoop kind of agreed on that, and
Do the gang?
They're saying that you're changing history and you're trying to make it seem like. And there was other stories from a few other guys making it kind of seem like Pac was in the middle of something where he was going to basically, get yoked up or something like that. And they were like, no, that ain't true. That's not true. And that's our homeboy. You know what I'm saying? And we never came out and said, "Oh, Nas was circled." We never did that, because when you approached him like a man, and you guys
had a mutual respect.
To them, it was like seeing two, as youngsters, and they were just trying to get in the rap game. You know what I mean? And they're seeing two of the greatest at that time, like Nas's Illmatic was, so they were like, we bumped that in the hood all the time, Nas's album. So when that thing happened, it was kind of like a hard thing. It was like, we roll with Pac, but we love Nas. And so when they seen it, it was like watching two giants. And so when
did you hear that?
When you hear this story and somebody's talking bad about your boy, the one who gave you guys, you guys gotta be like, hey man, I gotta defend my boy's legacy. Don't put him out like that.
Hopefully they're not old school like Tupac and Biggie and all that. Hopefully it's not old school where was it Orlando Brown that was arrested for the Biggie murder? Is that who it was, or was he killed? How did that go? Was it Orlando Brown, or was that related to Tupac?
That was related to Tupac.
Orlando Brown, is that who he beat up?
Orlando Anderson.
Anderson, my bad. Sorry. Was it Orlando Anderson? Is that who he beat up? And then, is that how it goes in the casino? This was a Mike Tyson fight, right?
So, I've read a couple books.
Yeah.
And so, there was
about this subject, you've read
yes
a lot more than a couple altogether.
There was a situation where, I try to leave, because of gang politics in LA, and even though I'm not in the streets no more, I try to leave the gang politics side alone, because what goes on in a hood is what's on in a hood. But we're talking about something that is public. It's out there.
Yeah, it's a past. So we're talking
Orlando Anderson was from a gang,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the members of Death Row were, some were Bloods, some were Crips.
Yeah.
And so Anderson was a Crip.
Uh-huh.
And so there was some situation,
confrontation
with one of his Crip gang and Andersons and the Bloods that were from Death Row.
Suge Knight's
and
crew.
Something happened where there was a fight that broke out and a chain got snatched.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So
and they stomped him out right in the middle of the casino.
Before that, so there was a situation that happened way before that.
Yeah.
And so
I don't remember this stuff.
There's these ties, of course. See, Anderson's uncle was Keefe D.
Oh, and he was a Crip, right?
Yes, they're all from Compton, and they Crips.
Well, isn't Keefe D?
So they were supposedly sent there to get Pac, and Anderson was peeping the scenery. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he got spotted
by.
Yeah, they were like
by the crew, somebody.
Yeah, some from Death Row.
Yeah.
Basically, they spotted him.
And then that's when
Pac, just being like, hey, look, these is my boys. He did what? You know what I'm saying? He showed his love. And so he went over there, and that happened. Anderson got stomped out.
That's what's crazy is you had all these soldiers around you, and you got like the Prince of Death Row, or maybe even the son of the King, Suge Knight. Suge Knight got paid. I don't care how any of us feel about Suge Knight. He got paid from Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all of them. He got Nate Dogg. He got paid.
He got paid.
Oh
yes,
man, they.
But I don't know if they got paid.
No, not as no. That's why Master P was Snoop's savior, but that just goes to show you what
there's more to this story, though.
But Tupac was a torpedo, bro, and he didn't even have to be.
But so from that situation, the story is those guys was like, oh, well, not only do we got to go handle you, you done already got on our boy. So they followed him. a lot of the reason why this case did not go, and this is from reading the book, so these are things that I've looked into, was after that shooting happened, the cops did not secure the scene.
After Tupac was murdered?
Where he got shot.
Mm. Oh, yeah, he went to the hospital and died.
So the cops did not secure the scene. Instead, they kept trying to follow Suge Knight's vehicle. Because Suge Knight kept driving.
Because it was a parole violation? Is that why?
I'm not sure if it was that or if it was just to get Pac to the hospital.
Who was following the police officers?
The police officer. He should have... Suge Knight's going down road, whatever, because he should have secured the crime scene.
Where did it happen? Flamingo?
Oh, man, dang it. I want to say it was on Colville.
It was Flamingo and something, no?
I want to say it was on Colville somewhere.
Anyways.
It's been a while, so sometimes I slip on that. But
it was such a tragedy.
They didn't secure the scene. So bullets were just getting ran over, things like that. And so when stuff's not secured, I hate to say it, but like...
evidence is lost.
That's what happened.
And the crazy
thing... And the Las Vegas police, they should have been in big trouble for that. I mean, I don't know if Feeney ever sued him, but she should have definitely sued.
I'm not trying to bounce around, but the craziest thing is like when we moved to Nevada in late '96. You remember you lived in Vegas for quite some time. Vegas was nowhere near what it is today. Vegas was like, it was big and it was popping, but now it's like, I would say Vegas right now is the entertainment capital of the world. They're bringing in professional sports teams, or they had concerts, they had residencies, but now people are fighting to get into Las Vegas to perform.
So I lived in on Boulder Highway, and the Roadrunner RV park right across from Crystal Palace Skating Center, the skate of the art.
Oh, you used to go skating on Friday and Saturday nights?
I went up there a few times.
Don't be too proud. I said we were being vulnerable here.
I want to be honest. I went up there a few times, but I never really was I got more into the rollerblades, but I never really did roller skates. I didn't really go there. But
sorry, go.
So. I remember riding down the street one day, past Sam's Town, and man, I seen a tumbleweed go past right, and I was already hating it because I was, from California, and I was young. I was like 7 years old, but I loved my street where I grew up and things like that, and there was a lot of stuff I experienced in Carson, California. So when I moved out there and I seen that tumbleweed roll past, I thought I was in some type of country place.
You're in the John Wayne movie. You thought you're like.
That's how I felt about it back then.
Rhinestone
Don't get me wrong. There was stuff going on all around Vegas even then, but that was the early times before the sportsmen's got crazy, you know what I mean? Boulder Highway wasn't as crazy as it was. Yeah. There was stuff going on, but it wasn't as crazy.
First they brought professional sports there, the Golden Knights, then the Aces, WNBA. Shout out to
Golden Knights.
Shout out to the WNBA. That's really coming up. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the Caitlin Clarks of the world, but man, it's just crazy to me. But anyways, then you got the Raiders come to town, which I've become a fan. I know I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan, but we've been fortunate enough to be able to go to several games. They brought in the Raiders. Now the A's are coming, and then LeBron wants to bring a professional NBA team to Vegas too. So yeah, it's just crazy, man. And then all the.
Well, you heard LeBron's retiring.
And after this year.
That's what he said.
Oh, well. I was never I'm a Lakers fan. I was never a huge fan of LeBron. Yeah. And I followed him this last year.
I mean, me, man. I'm a fan of LeBron. I'm a fan of the Lakers for many, many years, if y'all don't know that, but
same.
There always been that argument.
Yeah, it's
who's the best Laker there ever was, and I'm always going to be a Kobe, fan. So it always kind of, and
I wouldn't even
they don't
say
really want to compare Magic to Kobe or certain players to Kobe, but when they compare, they like to throw LeBron.
Well,
out there and,
the thing with LeBron is he jumped ship to the Heat to win a couple, and then he went back to the Cavs to win one, and then he come to the Lakers and won one in the COVID season, so everybody wants to put an asterisk next to it, whatever. I don't care. Every other team was trying to win too, just like the Dodgers. All the haters, the Giants fans, they want to put an asterisk next to it. So that's why Kike and all them boys got after you when they won this year. Shout out to the Dodgers.
But we love you, LeBron. We love you, LeBron.
Yeah.
I don't know about whatever allegations is going on. We love you, man. And we'd like to get you on the show.
Well, the thing was, what I was getting at is I wouldn't even put LeBron in the greatest Laker conversation because he was on all those other teams. And for me, I can't compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. I can't compare him to Kobe. I think Kobe and Michael were both better than LeBron James, and that's my opinion. It's fine if I get hate for it. I don't care. But my opinion is they're just different style. LeBron is a juiced up Magic Johnson. That's what LeBron is. He's a facilitator. He's a rebounder. And the end of the game, when you got 2 minutes left and you're down by 4, you want Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. You don't want LeBron James because he's going to disappear. He's just not that guy. Those guys are killers, and he's not that guy. Mm-hmm. So that's for me.
No, I agree with that 100%.
Man, I remember the day that Kobe passed away. It was I think it was January 26th, I believe, and I was working overtime, and I got a phone call right when I got to my truck. It was just a half day or something, and what are you doing? Nothing. Oh, from Cato. Cato called me up and he said, Kobe just died in a helicopter crash. I'm like, no. I'm like, click, and then I look on ESPN, and then it was true, It was true that he had passed away, and it just broke my heart, man. He was our Michael Jordan. Well, us Laker fans, he was our Michael Jordan. He was, and then he was just special, dude. He dropped 81 points against the Raptors, January 22nd, I believe, 2006, the day before my birthday. That's how I remember. But anyway, so
wish Gabriel was here. He'd tell you. He knows
what happened.
Well, he knows those games.
Yeah, no, it was 2006 January 22nd because I woke up and I had ESPN on. I didn't watch the game, but I had ESPN on, and then it's like man, he was just our Michael Jordan because I remember watching basketball in the late 80s. I was just a kid. And I followed basketball so hard for probably 20 years. And I remember watching all those Bulls teams where they beat the first time they beat the Lakers, and then the second was the Trailblazers, and then the third was the Suns, and then I think the fourth was the Supersonics, the fifth and the 6 were against the Jazz. And man, I remember wanting to see Michael Jordan was my villain. He was like he was my villain in wrestling, like my villain from wrestling. He was like, I just want to see him lose so bad. But that he was different than anybody before or anybody after.
Oh man, and but we love Michael Jordan.
We love Magic Johnson. We love all that stuff they talk about Larry Bird on these.
See now, Larry Bird was, he was a villain. But you know what? I got, like I was telling Mike, as I got older and got to watch a lot of Larry Bird, just all those highlights, man. Man, I don't know what I was thinking about you. Yeah. But you, man, gotta be one of the best basketball players to probably ever touch that ball, man. Larry Bird, definitely. Man, he was aggressive. He was a scorer.
They said he was the biggest shit talker, too.
Dude, But those were the days for it. You know what I mean? Like, you got the Gary Paytons, you got those people who just, they talked crap. Charles Barkley, that's what they did, man. You know, Shaq talked crap. Sure. You know, that was their. You know, nowadays everybody's soft. They don't even. They don't push that. You know, it wasn't so much that they hated each other. It was about pushing something to get on their nerves, to get them off their game.
It was so different too, because people didn't leave in free agent. I don't even know if free agency was a thing back then. I was too little, but I don't even know if free agency was a thing back then. People didn't jump ship to win. No. There's a lot of great players that never won. You know, they just and that kind of started, I want to say, with
Charles Barkley. He's one of those players known for that.
He left Philadelphia and went to the Suns, and then he left the Suns and went to the Rockets at the very end. Yes, with him and Clyde Drexler and Hakeem. Yep. But I think it was a little bit these dudes.
Time.
Yeah. So anyways, do you remember Manute Bol?
Yeah.
He was 7'7".
Skinny old black dude, man. I thought he was gonna crack.
Yeah, he was only he was only like not even 200 pounds, and he was 7'7". And you know, he has a boy in the NBA now.
Yes.
Yeah, he plays for the Suns, and he's just as big, but he's 10 times the talent that Manute was. This dude, he could dribble like a point guard. He could shoot the threes. He's just a little bit he's a little skinny like his dad.
Yeah.
So he's a backup. I got to actually, I seen him play in Orlando. Got to watch him play. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does good.
What up?
Hello.
We was talking about that last Kobe game.
Which one?
Not the last one. He scored 60 in the last one.
And his very last one, he scored 60.
Yeah, 60 in the last one, and Shaq was there for it. No, I'm talking about the 81-point game.
81-point game? Yep. That was his second overall record.
Yeah, behind Wilt Chamberlain.
100. The one that was never recorded.
Yeah, no, it was recorded. That's why he has a record, silly.
Well, I mean, like, they...
You know how many points they scored the whole entire game?
Huh.
His team?
How many?
Wilt's team? 102.
He scored 100 of them?
Yeah, they had 102.
The reason I'm saying it's not recorded, because back then, that's when they were starting to record the actual games.
Yeah.
But that's one of the ones that they didn't.
Oh.
You can
you're saying that it wasn't... They didn't record it, yeah, with the actual camcorders or whatever. But yeah, that was the day before my birthday, Gabe.
Yeah?
January 22nd, 2006. Wow. Yeah. Anyways, so
about Kobe history.
Basketball, yeah. Basketball is just different. Do you know who the Lakers traded for Kobe to get him?
Kobe was a Laker. He was never any other team.
They had to trade somebody to get him.
Off the Lakers before Kobe's time?
Who did they trade? For?
The Hornets are the ones that drafted Kobe, and then the Lakers traded the Hornets, Vlade Divac, for Kobe. Yeah, that's the only team he ever played for, but that's who they traded for him. Yeah, that was a good draft pick, I would say.
Decision ever.
Vlade Divac.
Shout out to Vlade.
Yeah.
And Pedro Stojakovic from the Kings. Anyways, yeah, we were just... it almost goes back to the 80s and 90s rap music. We were almost just like so spoiled with the...
Vlade Divac.
I
was just thinking.
We were almost just as spoiled with the NBA as our rap music back then, because the NBA was just different back then, man. It was just like, ooh. I'm still thinking about Van Axel, man. Nick Van Axel? When they was Slick Nick?
Yeah, man.
Eddie Jones.
Man, that was my
Shaq,
that was the time
Kobe.
I was playing basketball. So were, I would actually, we had to, if you guys don't know, there was a time they had a thing called VHS. So I would record certain things, because I was always out balling. So I would just record some of the games, and you were able to put a timer on it and have it all set. So I would have it set, and I would come home and watch those, just loving those times. Man.
I remember when Shaq and Kobe.
Vlade Divac was doing his thing, man.
Shaq and Kobe came to the Lakers the same year, and I remember when Shaq got signed to the Lakers, man. I remember that. It was like, oh my gosh, it was '96. I remember that, I was just like, I was in heaven. I was so excited. And then Kobe come along, and we had Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones. I was just like, oh, this is a squad. But they got rid of Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, and they brought in I want to say it was Glenn Rice and Ron Harper the first run when they won the first three. They brought in Glenn Rice and Ron Harper, and Horace Grant was there too.
Horace Grant, yes.
Yeah, I think Horace Grant was only on the first 3 Bulls championships. He wasn't on the second 3. I think he had went to Orlando by then.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. Went to Orlando.
Yeah, so those Orlando teams were really good before. You know, they had Nick Anderson, they had Penny Hardaway, they had Dennis Scott.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq D, so that's what made him good. But, yeah, they hit Penny.
Yeah, there was... You know, Shaq would come and he would slam. And he would grab that rim and that's why you see him in that picture on the shoes.
Yeah, silhouette.
He would yank them down, whole thing down.
Yeah.
He yanked the whole thing down. It was like amazing. It was like, what the heck are we looking at?
What about, did you hear anything about we touched on I'm sorry. We touched on New Orleans last time about that and the dude having the ISIS flag and we were right in that intersection, man, and God bless all those people, and hopefully they can find some peace and just
prayers.
Prayers go out to you guys. And then after that, it was probably 7 hours after that, there was a Cybertruck explosion in Vegas. We're pretty close to Vegas where we live, but so there was a Cybertruck explosion at the Trump Hotel in Vegas, and they say that the guy shot himself, and then the I'm not trying to get on dark stuff, I'm sorry, but he shot himself, and then the Cybertruck exploded. It hurt 7 people, but there was no casualties. But you know, and I want to segue into this because they say that this guy was like a 19-year military veteran. He's a Green Beret, and there had to be some direct correlation between Trump hotel, Cybertruck explosion. There had to be some. It feels like there's something connected there, and you know, I just hope that people can find mental health and they can find solutions. I've heard of a lot of solutions as far as psychedelics and stuff like that for PTSD and trauma. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying I've heard
of it too.
You know, microdosing or whatever the case may be. I think there's another one. I just listened to a whole podcast on it. I don't want to mispronounce it. I think it's Ibogaine or something like that. And people are having to go to different places. Like there's one in Cancun, and and they say that you do it one time and it lasts for a very long time. And it's not like an addictive drug. It makes so you know. I just really wanted to touch on mental health because mental health. You know, there's a lot of people that struggle with mental health issues, and
so you know what I'm gonna say. You know, as far as mental health goes. You can go to counselors, you can go to all these type of people, but if you really, really want to seek some peace, I believe you need to pray. And I believe that Jesus is the only way. But do I think those are, you know, medications? I do. You know, I know a lot of people who are out there probably think, oh no, why would you say something like that? You've never done it. And I have seen some people who have do microdosing the mushrooms and things like that, and I've seen change. Mm-hmm. I have seen change. So I think we're in a time now where, you know, you're starting to learn about CBD. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do I believe in CBD? Yeah. And sometimes I'll use it. I have CBD right now. I do. You know, I'm not a marijuana smoker anymore in my life, but do I believe in medicine? Yeah, people think that there's no such thing as there was doctors in the Bible. There was doctors. So for me to say that that's not, you know, that there's medication out there. It's right here on Earth. So would mushrooms be something that could be used? Yeah.
Yeah, the Lord created it. I mean, there's just many different avenues. People with more severe cases of PTSD and trauma, maybe they need to go with a little bit stronger medicine to cure their stuff. I know people that have been to Iraq and served over there, and they did stuff that they never want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And
I've heard of THC
and God
working
bless
with them too. So I mean, like I said, I'm not a guy to be like, oh, that's wrong. Abusing something, now that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no offense, I love you, Snoop, and I want you on the show. But if you're just out here trying to smoke weed like Snoop Dogg, but I don't know, that might be his medication. After smoking it for so long, he probably needs to smoke quite a few blunts. But do I believe in these medications? Yeah, I do.
Well, I mean, if it's
used,
if it's prescribed by a doctor, and there's certain guidelines, and there's a plan of attack, you're not just going down to your the street corner and getting it from somebody. But like, these people are suffering. Obviously, this guy was suffering. I'm not trying to excuse his actions or anything like that, but he served our country to protect us for our freedoms. And God bless the people that have served our country previous and past. Without the sacrifices these people have made, we would have nothing. So
and
thank them.
Yeah, I do. I just like what you were just getting back to the whole mental health side of what you're saying. There's things out there, and I think, if you guys don't know, there's a place you can go. Type in on your computer. It's GOOGLE.com. You can find
Google
all types of things. Learn things. You know what I mean? You don't actually have to go to a doctor. Look up what you're going through. You know what I mean? It's so much information out there that was not out there at one time. Mental health is a serious thing that we go through in this country, especially here. They say that we have more people who are depressed in this country. So there's lots of avenues and ways, to find out things to help yourself.
Diet and exercise, those are two of the biggest things for
diet,
me.
Yes.
And here's the thing, you can work out nonstop, but if your diet isn't right, diet is 70% of feeling better. Diet. And maybe you're not Mr. Olympia, maybe you're not a marathon runner, maybe you're not a triathlon, maybe you don't do triathlons, but the thing is if you just start with a walk to the end of your street and back, walk to the end of the block and back, do that, and then a week later, go 2 blocks and back, just walking even after you eat. It lowers your blood sugar by like 30% if you do it within the first hour after eating. So there's little things that you can do, and then once you start taking baby steps, then you can take little toddler steps, and then and then pretty soon you'll be running and you'll be addicted to it and you'll just take off. I'm trying to get back on that. I fell off a little bit with my exercise. We're trying to get back on that. So for my mental health, I've noticed I get up real early before I go to work, and I'll work out. And I notice a change in me. If I do that, then I just feel better. I just feel better, and I want to work harder once I'm at work. So
and as far as we were talking about diet, supplements, it's very important. Today, the foods that we eat, they don't have all the nutrition that we need. So
no, they have a bunch of additive preservatives and additives that are super bad.
You get into supplements. Even if you're just
Vitamins.
taking a multivitamin, that's important. But
methylated. You should get methylated.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, methylated.
Because some of these vitamins. Well, maybe you can explain a little bit about the methylated.
So, like your one-a-days and stuff like that, your body doesn't absorb it. Mm-hmm. Your body won't absorb that the one-a-days because it just doesn't break it down. If you get methylated multivitamins, it's already broke down before it even goes into your body. There's a great human biologist by the name of Gary Brecka. I don't know if I'm telling you guys anything you don't know, but Gary Brecka will break all kinds of different stuff down to you about all the toxic stuff that's in our food. That's why I think it's great that RFK is going to be part of this.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Junior. Junior. He's going to be part of this new presidency. He's going to be part of the political. He's going to be part of the White House with Donald Trump. So I'm really excited about that. I don't care if you're for Trump or not. It's none of my business. I don't care. Nope. But the thing is the food that we're giving our kids, the poison and stuff.
Red dyes,
flour.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many different things. There's there's cyanide in our food.
So it's very important to supplement. So you have you're getting the things that your brain needs. I can't stress that enough. I'm a big advocate for black seed oil. I love using black seed oil, and
you should see the way he feeds his dogs. Man, these dogs eat better than I do. I swear.
Well, because most of dog food nowadays is basically cardboard burnt up in an oven or something like that. So you got to add a little something to give your dog something. I'm not hating on any of the dog food companies. There is some really good ones. Carnivore. I forget who the lady is who runs Keto. Carnivore, but we definitely need to get you on the show.
Carnivore.
They're out of Canada.
What is it?
It is a dog food that's like, it's real food.
Oh.
They basically will break down real food, vegetables, and stuff like that, and they blend it. They put it in the oven for 4 minutes, and then they bring it out and they let it air dry. So they don't lose all the nutrients that when you cook out of dog food. That's why you just get these little kibbles.
Yeah, that's what they say. Eating vegetables raw is a lot better for you than actually cooking them and eating them.
Well, you remember back in the days, Grandma would just feed the dogs table food scraps.
Oh, yeah.
Why did the dog... I thought the dog lived like it was like 20 years old or something. Like, you're like, that dog's been with us our whole life. Now dogs just, you get 10 years out of them, and you're happy to get 10 years out of them because, they're, they're not getting the right nutrition. So I just, I like to take care of my dogs.
It's important not to overfeed, though. That's the problem with the human food is they overfeed them. I went and seen my brother today. Shout out to Casey. I went over and seen him today.
Hey, Casey, we gonna get you on the show, man.
Yeah, so I went over and seen him, and I hadn't seen him. He has I want to say it's a tricolor Merle English Bulldog, and this dog is dope, bro. He's dope. His name is Kush, but I hadn't seen him for a little while, man, and I think Kush is going to be the heavyweight Bulldog champion of the world because he's looking pretty thick, bro. I'm like, man, slow down on feeding this guy. He's like, oh, he's a tank. Yeah, he was happy to see me. He don't like white. I have my white shoes on. He don't like white shoes for some reason. So he's like running from me, and then I took my shoes off, go over and chill and talk to my brother and take my shoes off, and then he runs right over and he like loves on me a little bit. So it was cool. A nice dog, man. They hit gold with that one. He's a nice dog. Nice. Yeah.
Shout outs to Casey again, man. We're gonna get you on the show, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So what do we got coming up then? As you hit your vape.
Well, I think we got a guest.
And who's that?
I don't know if we want to say his name.
Yeah, of course we do.
All right, well, we got a great comedian named Diaz Mackey.
Oh, I love comedy. This is so freaking exciting.
Oh, yes. We're going to have him on the show here soon. I'm not sure what day.
You could tell, man. I wouldn't seen him perform. I don't know. I remember last year, maybe.
We're going to go see him tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to go see him tomorrow down at G's.
Yeah. Shout outs to Hector.
Yeah. So we went. And you could tell this dude has got some years under his belt, because when we went and seen him at G's last time, he was like, he's pretty clever, dude. You could tell this dude's funny. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, and he's a believer. You'll be there's a lot of growing going on with him, and that's why I like that dude.
He seems like a sweetheart, though.
Man, he is loved by everybody that knows him.
Yeah.
You know, some people, you know, you hear the comedy and maybe you disagree with something or think but if you get to talk to Diaz Mackey, that dude, Diaz Mackey for president.
Yeah, we're actually gonna get him on Sunday. I don't know how long it's gonna take for us to get it out there, because we have to have Gabriel do our editing and stuff like that. Thank you again to him. He's the brains behind this operation. We're just the mouth. We do a little bit of studying and then we talk about it. We're just sharing our intimate conversations amongst each other with you guys, you know, being vulnerable and stuff. So yeah, shout out to Gabriel, man. Without him, we got a recording on our phone in our little podcast machine with the SD card or whatever. So yeah, I'm very grateful to him.
Yes. Well, Mike, should we call it a day?
I think so, man.
Well, thank you for tuning in with Open Circuit, the best podcast in the world, Craig.
Yeah.